All right, let's round out our coverage of this very sick Trump rally in Durham, New Hampshire, and we're going to introduce the religious component, of course. If we sometimes struggle to understand how these MAGA beliefs are so resistant to reason, they're so resistant to change, they're so resistant to what we consider to be logic, reason, empiricism, thinking, etc. Part of the explanation is religion. And what I mean by that, religion and cult, right? I guess there's both, and it's sort of like a weird overlap. If you believe Trump is a cult leader or religious leader sent by God, why does it really matter whether Mexico paid for the wall, right? You have to think about these things as being on two such dramatically different levels. If Trump was chosen by God to come and root out pedophilia among Washington, D.C. pizza parlors or whatever QAnon believes right now, if that's why Trump was sent here by God, does it really matter if the debt went up, right? And this is what you have to understand. You look at a guy like Chris Christie, you look at a guy like Willard Mitt Romney, they aren't of this mindset, okay? And so that's how they end up going, yeah, I mean, listen, sure, I love low taxes, but I'm not going to vote for the guy who tried to subvert democracy. Take a look at this. This is the prayer that they did to open the Trump rally. And they talk about an Orwellian dystopia, and they talk about Trump being sent to save us.
Holy and almighty God, sovereign majesty of all nations in creation, we will get right to the point. Those of us here gathered today in this place, along with scores of Americans and freedom-loving peoples around the world, know that we are living in days that are unprecedented for the threats to our way of life and very existence. With every passing day, we slip farther and farther into George Orwell's tyrannical dystopia.
Do we?
We have been lied to, deceived, and seduced by those who would reduce us to serfdom and worse. Our parents, spouses, children, neighbors, and friends are not only suffering hardships at the hands of those who rule us with imperial disdain, but also are falling sick and dying in numbers we have not witnessed in our lifetimes. Every day we are burdened by those who have asserted illegitimate authority and unconstitutional lawlessness over us.
That's true, but it's not the people he thinks it is.
Oh God, hear us. Bless and protect us to this man who will speak to us today. We know what he did for us and how he strove to lead us in honorable ways during his term as our president, in ways that brought your blessings to us rather than your reproach, and judgment. We know the hour is late. We know that time grows shorter for us to be saved and revived.
Right.
We know we cannot, nor do we do alone all that needs to be done. And so we humbly beseech you to come to our aid while there is yet time.
God's chosen one, Donald Trump, must save us from George Orwell's tyrannical dystopia and a Joe Biden that rules us with imperial disdain. Totally normal, right? Of course, this is bonker stuff. But if we are to understand how to make sure that these people don't win and that Trump doesn't get back in office to become the dictator he's promising to be, you really have to understand that arguing about the CDC's guidelines on COVID isn't going to make an iota of difference to someone who believes Trump was sent by God and can do no wrong. That is the difference when these right-wingers say, I don't see anybody out there. I don't see boats with Biden flags. I'm not seeing the people wearing the Biden hats. I'm not seeing the people camping out for a week for a Biden rally. There must not be support for Biden. Well, that's the difference. Hardworking, middle-class people in Michigan who in November will go and vote Biden are too busy and not cultish enough to go driving around with Biden flags on their cars or whatever the case may be. It's a different world. And many of these Democratic voters that supposedly don't exist, they exist. They just don't base their identity around Joe Biden. Much like, hey, it's going to come November. I'll look at who's on the ballot and I'll vote for the better one. I'm not getting any flags. I'm not getting any stickers. I'm not getting any tattoos. I'm not getting any t-shirts. I'm just going to vote and then I'll go back to living my life. And that's the way most people are operating in the political space, including many Republicans. But this is a cult. And understand that when they see him as a religious deity of sorts, the facts no longer matter. And that's very evident from that insane prayer in Durham, New Hampshire.